Okay, let's talk about Surah al-Baqarah. It's the longest chapter in the entire Quran, and for so many people, its huge range of topics can feel like a vast, really complex puzzle. So, what do you say we try and put those pieces together? I mean, just think about it for a second. The chapter jumps from these really deep theological discussions to laws about marriage, from epic stories of ancient prophets to the nitty-gritty rules on financial interest. On the surface, it can seem kind of fragmented. So what's the hidden thread here? What's the one single idea holding all of this together? Well, to find that thread, we need the right tool. And in modern Quranic studies, that tool is often thematic interpretation. Now, instead of just going verse by verse, this approach looks at the chapter as a whole, hunting for that core theme that connects every single part. It's kind of like finding the key to a code. And when we use that key on Surah al-Baqarah, one powerful concept just emerges as the central axis for the whole thing: the idea of humanity's role as successors or stewards on Earth. This right here? This is the aha moment where everything suddenly starts to click into place. The entire theme is anchored right here in verse 30. You could almost call it the mission statement for all of us. God declares his plan to place a Khalifa, a successive authority on Earth. This isn't just another story in the chapter. No, this is the foundational premise for everything that comes after it. So what's the purpose of this huge responsibility? Well, the Quranic narrative gives us a two-part answer. The first part is spiritual, to worship God. And the second part is worldly, to build, to develop, and to cultivate the earth, to make it flourish. It's this dual mandate for both our spiritual and our physical lives. Now, what's really fascinating is how the surah teaches this concept. It doesn't just throw a bunch of abstract theories at us. No. Instead, it presents a series of historical case studies, really powerful models of both success and failure in this role of stewardship. First up, we get Adam, who is basically the prototype. He messes up, but he learns from it, he repents, and he accepts the mission. Then the surah spends a huge amount of time on the children of Israel, presented here as a cautionary model, a community that was given a covenant, but, as the text tells it, repeatedly broke its trust. And this all sets up a powerful contrast with our third model, Abraham, who is shown as the absolute ideal of faithfulness and true leadership. So you see, the crucial point here is this incredibly stark contrast. On one side, you have a story of a broken covenant. On the other, a story of a fulfilled trust. The surah is essentially laying it all out for us, saying, look, here are two paths, two completely different outcomes. Learn from the cautionary tale, but also learn from the ideal example. Okay, so after laying out these historical models, the surah does something truly remarkable. The structure itself, the way it's built, actually contains a message. A massive shift is about to happen, and it happens at the precise mathematical center of the entire chapter. Let's just look at the numbers for a second. Surah al-Baqarah has exactly 286 verses. And that means the halfway point is right here at verse 143. Now, this is absolutely not an accident. This specific verse is the structural and thematic heart of the whole chapter. So what does this central verse actually say? And thus, we have made you a justly balanced nation, that you will be witnesses over the people. This is the climax of the story so far. After showing us the previous models, the responsibility of spiritual leadership and stewardship is now formally passed on. This verse, along with the verses right after it that change the direction of prayer from Jerusalem to Mecca, marks the huge turning point. It is, for all intents and purposes, the transfer of the mantle. The whole narrative has been building up to this moment, the appointment of the final community to carry that trust of succession forward. So let's say you've just been handed this immense, world-changing responsibility. What's the very first thing you're going to need? You're going to need a manual, right? A blueprint for how to actually succeed. And that is exactly what the entire second half of the surah gives us. This is where it all comes together. Remember all those laws about finance, family, justice, and war that seemed so random before? Well, now they have a crystal clear context. They are the individual components of a divine constitution, a complete blueprint for this new community to build a truly just and balanced society. And the guidance is incredibly thorough. I mean, it's not just about prayer and fasting. It touches on literally everything, from your personal faith and rituals, all the way to criminal justice, economic ethics, family law, and even the guiding principles of war and peace. It's a holistic guide for the entire successor community. Now, after laying out this incredibly detailed constitution, the surah doesn't end with another law. Instead, it ends with a powerful, moving prayer. It shifts from the what and how of stewardship to the who, the internal state of the person who is meant to carry this whole thing out. These final verses, 284 to 286, are widely seen as a summary of the entire chapter's message. They're a really profound reflection on the relationship between the Creator and the community that's been tasked with being His stewards on earth. So what is that required mindset? Well, it's laid out here like a four-step process. It all starts with awareness of God's complete authority. Then it moves to a universal faith in all of God's messengers. But the crucial turning point is the response of submission. We hear and we obey. And it all culminates in humility, this constant prayer for forgiveness and help, acknowledging that we can't possibly fulfill this heavy trust on our own. And this creates this perfect, beautiful symmetry in a Surah structure. It starts with the external job description, hey, you're a successor on earth. And it ends by describing the internal state, the heart and mind that you need to actually fulfill that role. The beginning and the end are perfectly connected. So the puzzle is solved. Every piece has its place. And the question the chapter leaves us with is a profound one. If humanity's purpose is really defined as stewardship of the planet, of justice, of our societies, what does that immense responsibility actually require from each of us today?